and welcome. This is a live chat that we're doing here in our Facebook group as well as on our YouTube page. So, welcome. My name is Bethany, and I am the creator of the home care agency Startup Academy. So, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. And I know there's a lot of you wanting to start your home care agency, which I will say it over and over again, there is no better time than now. And that is because of our beautiful aging population, okay? And they're needing our help. They're wanting to stay in their homes, right? They want to age in place. They want to be there safely. They want to be part of the community, part of their families, and just have that connection into their home. So that's where the home care agency comes in. And what a beautiful thing, because to be quite honest, there are not enough facilities otherwise to house people. So we really need to get this home care situation dialed in. All right. So let me know where you're watching this from, live or replay. Do let me know. I'm here in Maine, and we got some beautiful weather today. I'm going to take it. Love it. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the first seven things that you need to do when it comes to getting your agency started. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is research. Okay. Research. So I'm going to write that out. That's beautiful writing, right? Research. So I want you to look on your state's website, whatever state you live in, do let me know. And you need to figure out what the rules and regulations are for your state. You need to figure out what it takes to become an agency. Some are regulated, some aren't. So just got to do the research. Number two, what you need to do is decide if you're going to be a sole proprietor. I'm going to put SP for short, or if you're going to do an LLC, or maybe you're going to do an S Corp or a C Corp. So decide how you're going to enter into business, what your entity will be. And if you're not sure about this, good information on irs.gov to figure this out. Still not sure? Talk to your local tax accountant. They are really great at helping you figure this out. The third thing we need to do is figure out a business name. And if you already have a business name, go ahead and put it in the chat, put it in the comments. I love hearing your business names. They're all so wonderful. All of my students who share their business names with me, I'm like, that's such a good one. That's such a good one. All right, so you need to figure out your name. And then you have to figure out if you have to register it. Does your state want you to register your business and the name with them? You also need to figure out if you want to have it registered, trademarked, or even copyrighted, because that way another agency 2 years from now, 5 years from now, can't take your name. They could take it if you don't have it copyrighted. They could come up with the name, get it copyrighted if you don't, and then come after you and say, hey, you have my name and you can't use it. Okay, so those are things that you have to think about. And inside the academy, for those of you watching that are students of the academy, I share the links of where you can find that information and look at the trademarking websites to make sure. Okay, so that's our first 3 steps. Research, decide what entity you want to go into business as, and then figuring out your business name. And if you need to register it, copyright it, what you need to do there. It's really not that hard to do any of those things. But if you need help, just reach out. All right, so number 4, the fourth thing we need to do is we've got to get our EIN. Especially if you're going to have employees, you got to have an employer identification number, right? Because we have to pay taxes and things like that. If you're like, I'm not going to have employees, I'm in a state that's not regulated, I'm going to have subcontractors, then maybe you don't need an EIN, okay? You also, though, will need to get an MPI. So your MPI is your National Provider ID. So you will need this when you are filling out applications to work within your state Medicaid or within the Veterans Administration, even some long-term insurance companies. They want to see your MPI. They want to know that you're a national provider. And so you'll need to obtain that. if you're filling out an application for your state licensure, they're going to ask for it as well. So both of these to do, they don't cost anything. So that's nice. Number 5 is you're going to want to develop your organizational chart. So your organizational chart. And so that is when you have in place who's at the top and then who filters below that as far as your company goes. Why have one of these? Well, most of your licensed states are going to require that you have an organizational chart. If you ever have to get a loan of any type, they're going to want to see your organizational chart. Beyond that, for your employees, it's nice for them to know kind of the ranks, if you will, who's in charge, if you will, right? So it would look like something like this, just to give you an example. It'd be you at the top, right, the owner. And then we might have your HR here. We might have, if you have a nursing director or you have like a care coordinator, we'll say care coordinator, CC here, right? And under the CC, the care coordinator, you're going to have the staff, your PSSs, your CNAs, right? Under HR, there may not be really anybody under HR. I mean, they're going to oversee some of that. So you might have a bridge like that. You might also have come off of here, your financial person. So that's what I mean by organizational chart. Okay. Now, number six, what you got to start to get together, right? So those are some of the basic first steps. And then we're going to get a little deeper. Okay, a little deeper. So number 6, we're going to want to get our hiring packets and process. So our hiring packets, we got to get that in place, right? So what does that look like? A hiring packet. Well, we've got to have, let's see, our application. We've got to have our references. We've got to make sure we do our background checks because our states are going to require a background check. Even if you are a private agency and you're in a non-regulated state, I would still highly suggest you do some form of background check. And here's why. You want to protect your clients, right? And you also want to protect your company from any possibility of poor activity happening, if you will. And you want to protect your reputation. So I would definitely do background checks. And it gives also this beautiful sense of security to your clients when you can say to them, all of our staff, everybody coming into your home has been background checked, is insured, right? So we want that in the hiring packet. I just kind of went off there a little bit, but we want that in there. There's going to be several other things that we need to include in the hiring packet as well, but we don't necessarily have time to dive into all that today. So number 7, though, is going to be the employee orientation. I'm just going to do an O here. Orientation plus their the orientation protocols. Okay. So this is a whole packet that you're going to need to come up with when it comes to providing an orientation to your employees. Some people who come to work for you may have never worked in this field before, so they're going to need a really good orientation. Some have worked in this field forever, but of course they're new to your company, so they're going to need an orientation on how you operate, how you work, right? And what's expected of them. We need to put that out there for them so they know exactly what's expected. Beyond that, most of your states are going to require an orientation of some degree, some more than other. My state, it's 8-hour orientation. Some states I've seen 5 hours before going into the client's home and at 5 hours after going into the client's home. Some of the orientation can be part of going to the client's home and doing that training. It all depends on your state. And so that's why we go back to that number 1, which is the research, right? So after you have these first steps done, you have these first things done. And of course, there's some more stuff to do as well. If you want a complete list of my checklists, go to BethanyRatcliffe.com/hub. I will go ahead and put that in the chat as well. I don't know if I can do that on YouTube as we're talking, but I'll add it. The whole checklist is right there to download. You don't have to put your email in or anything like that. You can just download it and you'll see some of the other things that need to be done. So after that's all done though, after you get started and you get prepared to either go for licensure or open your doors, after all that, then you've got to start coming up with some systems and some operational procedures, right? Because you don't want to be wasting time, precious time, right? You don't want to be overwhelmed or reinventing the wheel when you have a new caregiver who applies for the job. And then you got to have, okay, now we do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. What's the system for onboarding this employee? So that way they are ready to go, know what needs to be done. Their employee file looks perfect. And now we're going to do that again, right? So you need to have systems in play for hiring, for orientation, for your clients. When somebody calls and they need care, what's the first step? What's the second step? What's the third step? When you go into the client's home and do the intake, what are the steps to that, right? So beyond the getting set up, then after that comes systems, and you want to have these in play so that your company operates very, very efficiently, right? So I've had my home care agency now for, I should be able to do math better than this, 14 years. 14 years, yeah, we started. And there was no like school, there was no training, there was nothing. And so I just came from my heart that I wanted to do this. I wanted to help people stay at home. I'd worked in home care before and I saw the value to it. But I also saw some things that I didn't love about it. And I was like, I can do this and make it better. So started my own agency. And in doing that, it was really, really hard. I actually gave up. I got very overwhelmed and gave up for a year, put it aside. And so I actually started the process in 2009. Gave up, put it aside, and then I came back to it. And I was like, all right, I got to do this. I just have to. Like, it's like that, they say a calling. It's like that. Like, it won't go away. And I'm really glad I did. The first several years were a struggle. And the struggle was in just trying to create all the documents and all the processes, all the operations, all the systems, and get them fine-tuned and dialed in. And I have done that so much so that when it comes to my company, I actually only work for my company maybe on average 2 to 5 hours a week now. Isn't that wild? That's so wild, right? I have other stuff that I get to do for the company that's more hands-on with the clients, which I prefer to do. But administratively, I'm only 2 to 5 hours a week. And I love that because, yeah, I let the people who are really good at all that stuff, who really enjoy that, I let them do that. And I get to do the stuff that fills me up. I also had the extreme honor of starting the Home Care Agency Academy, where I am having a blast with all these owners, getting them set up, which I think is just such an awesome thing because it's so needed. And so, yeah, there is great freedom with choosing this type of work is all I'm trying to say. And there's also, there is so much benefit and just like protection, if you will. So for example, a lot of you know this past spring, and even I'm still going to specialists. I've really struggled with my health for the first time ever. And I have not been able to do much work at all. And the beautiful thing is that I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my home care agency, because my home care agency is still able to pay me every week, right? So there's a lot of financial security, is what I'm trying to say, with this business as well. So you're positively impacting people, helping them stay at home. You're employing people. And then you, as the owner, as the years go on, as you fine tune your agency, as you get your systems in play, and you get strong employees and people working for you, you're really able to set back and you're able to have a lot of financial freedom, as they call it. And you also just have a lot of time freedom to maybe explore other avenues or dive deeper into other parts of the agency that maybe you couldn't before. And you get to have that financial security. So like if something happens that you weren't expecting, I wasn't expecting to get as sick as I have been this year, then you are covered. And that's, I don't know. That's just such a blessing all the way around. It's like a full circle blessing, if you will. So excited for you to be here to start your agency. If you're looking for some help with getting your agency started, we have opened the doors to the Home Care Agency Academy. They will close tomorrow's Wednesday. So tomorrow, because we have orientation on Thursday, and you can get in there, you can access all of the lessons in there, all the master classes. We do everything that you need to get your agency up and going. And then what's really exciting is that starting September 10th, we are starting a 7-part series all on systems. And so you'll be able to join me on Zoom, and it'll be very interactive. If you want to, if you don't, that's fine too. But it's going to be going through all these systems and actually playing them all out together so that you feel super confident, right? The first time you take on a client and you do that plan of care, the first time that you work on hiring somebody, the first time that you have to reprimand somebody, right? Or whatever it is. We're going to go through all of that together in this 7-part series, and that is just included in the Academy. It's a special series that I'm doing, and all included. So if you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to reach out. You can email me at support@BethanyRatcliffe.com. All right. And tomorrow I'm going to go a little bit deeper on those systems, 8 a.m. tomorrow inside the Facebook group. Okay. So I will see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.